This is what we do and why we do it, baby. We rollin'!
Covering MMA from all over the world, this is the premier stop for all your combat sports needs. MMAjunkie Radio, the only show broadcasting live from the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. The lights are on and the mics are hot. It's time to get your MMA fix, junkies. Take it away, Big John.
Gorgeous George and Coach, are you ready? Junkie Nation, are you ready? Let's get it on!
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you're listening to the MMAjunkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes, our co-host. To my left, it's the fight analyst, Dan Tom, producing the show. It's the Iron Man, Josh Friedman. He's going back-to-back, man.
The Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Yeah, I mean, I was very impressed. He was, you know, we're catching the end of MMA Tonight with RJ and AJ, and I can hear Josh doing his thing there, and just the same way how in about 60 minutes we're going to tell you, hey, hang in there, man. It's just a 60-second, what do we call it, the top of the top of the hour, Brock. Yeah, top of the hour.
Top of the hour.
That's what Josh gets. He literally says, bye, guys, and boom, says hello to us. So that right there reminds me a little bit of what an Iron Man does. Now, what I'm doing really is I'm feeling out a few different nicknames.
I think it should be in the
because he's Jolton Josh on At the Fights. He's been Jumbo Josh with us for a while. But I'm going to toss a few out there, and we'll just see if one sticks.
All right.
Okay. I like the Iron Man so far.
Hey, listeners, feel free to weigh in on this, too, by the way.
Exactly. Yeah. Josh, what I want to know out of you is, first of all, you must have to take a colossal piss, right?
That's where mine's at.
Do you really?
Well, because I'm always thinking like that, so I will sympathize with him if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, if you're probably, he's probably drinking water all day. I've been to the SiriusXM studios. They got coffee. They got all kinds of juices and drinks. So that's probably why he's not answering me. But anyway.
No. I mean, I don't want to interrupt, but no, I time my urination. I generally go around 7:30, 7:45 Eastern. If you want, like, I could Periscope it. I time it, though. That way I don't have to go during your guys' show.
Is it going to rival Adam Sandler's The Longest Pee? There's a deep reference there.
As long as you don't have to microscope it, then you're all right. All right, so I got to ask you a question here. Before MMA Tonight, what do you do then? Do you do another show, or is it just two shows that you're involved with as the lead producer?
I actually produce Busted Open, the Luke Thomas. No, I'm just kidding. No, before that is Luke. That's usually Mike Russo. Before that, getting set for the day.
All right,
getting audio ready for you guys, booking guests.
Yeah, we've exchanged quite a few texts throughout the day, so I know he's out there hustling. But yeah, that's very impressive to just produce and then turn it around in 60 seconds. So we'll see if the Iron Man takes a lead in the race for Josh's nickname. Today, like he said, he did book a guest. It's Vincent Pastore.
Hey.
He's going to be a guest of ours. No, most people know him as Big Pussy from The Sopranos. And if you've been scouring the satellite dish, channel guide, or your cable systems, you've all had to have noticed that HBO has just been pounding The Sopranos these last few days, at least for me. And, I mean, they're on HBO, HBO West, HBO Latino. They're everywhere. And I was like, what the hell's going on? But it turns out it's a 20-year anniversary of The Sopranos. So
we're pounding Big Puss? Wait.
It's just a matter of time.
Sorry. You're dancing. You're dancing. It's getting hot. It's getting hot in here. I can't help myself.
So, yeah, a lot of these stars have reunited, and they've been doing a lot of, spots everywhere.
Okay.
And so Josh booked Vincent Pastore on our show. I don't know. I don't have a friend who's never watched Sopranos, and if I do, then we're no longer friends. Dan's never watched Sopranos?
Hey, we got calls online. Do we have calls, Josh?
It was down.
Josh, do we have calls?
Josh?
I definitely didn't.
I didn't say it was Josh either. I'm just saying we got a lot to talk about today.
That's like, okay. I mean, I'm obviously partial because I love the gangster flicks.
Yep.
But if I step outside of that, I can honestly say that was really good writing and television, great actors. I mean, people used to have like a Sunday night dinners to mimic what Carmela Soprano would do. The Sunday dinner, they'd have that. They'd always have the Italian food. I had friends that really, really got into it. Woody and I and the Squid, we would call each other. Like, I think it aired at 9 p.m. our time Pacific. Around 10, you could expect your phone to ring. Hey, what'd you think?
Yeah.
You know, we would just kind of do that. Yeah.
Golden
man.
era, huh?
Yeah, exactly. We'd talk about, oh, why did she get whacked, or why did he get, you know, I wish they would have done this. We used to talk about that. So we all really, really liked it. And, of course, you get the quotes, and they had great characters, a classic ending. But, you know, there's just a 20-year generational gap from people that may be saying, like a Dan Tom or somebody else going, bro, I'm lost. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, I'm here to tell you, you have to go back, and it's easy for you guys. All you have to do is go back to, well, for one, HBO, but they're on Netflix. They're not hard to find, all the episodes. If you want to start from season 1, you will have a blast. I am very confident, and I will sit here on this show Monday through Friday for 2 hours. I dare one of you to call me and say, I gave it 3 episodes, it sucked, you suck. If so, then you're a fucking liar. You know, go ahead, I can't stop you. But no one will do that because that was an amazing show.
It was great. I think it made other shows step up their game, and it really did. I thought it evolved television a lot.
Even TV critics, it evolved. Like Showtime, they started putting out good shows. And guys, what do you think led to all these other shows that you've seen? The Ray Donovans, a lot of the ones you've seen on TMC. What's the one we were watching the other day? The Breaking Bad. You know, what do you think led to all that? It was shows like The Sopranos on HBO, and they took it in another direction, away from the networks. The networks are handcuffed a little bit, language and nudity, and these guys weren't, and they had some really, really good stars. So anyway, Vincent Pastore, he's going to be at the end of the show. He's going to be in the second hour. In the first hour, we got the big man, Derrick Lewis. He just signed on to fight Junior Dos Santos. He's coming off a loss to to Daniel Cormier at UFC 230. They were in the headliner. Daniel Cormier was able to hang on to his belt that night. Before then, Derrick Lewis had a nice run to get himself into a title shot. And now I'm sure he wants to start a new streak and see what's out there for him. Maybe now it goes that he's got some of that money stacked up that he's wanted. He wanted to take care of his family. Maybe now he'll have a different drive, the quest for gold.
I don't think so, because I thought the last time I thought the last time we spoke to him was the time when he was going to say, you know what, guys, now that I kind of have a taste for it, it's in front of me. Okay, you got me. No, he stood true. He really didn't care.
Well, but now
being around him,
but now
too,
he's cashed the check.
Yeah, I don't know.
You see what I'm saying? All that finally came in, and he stepped in kind of on a later notice. And I think eventually we pushed him, and I want to say we did some math and somehow figured out that he was at least getting $1 million. Well, that's life-changing right there, because that's enough after taxes, whatever, to pretty much pay off your house if you want. And don't forget, this guy's a heavyweight. He's been getting paid for a long time. So he's been stacking paper. Yeah, he's very, very active. And so I bet you he's really, really at peace, where maybe now money's not at the forefront.
Yeah, but the more money you make, the more money you spend, right? There's some fighters that – remember Joe Lozon? One time I asked him, if you got paid a good amount, but you fought the same fighter every single time, would you do it? And he said, yeah, because I'd rather do that. I'd just do it over and over. He goes, I don't care. I just want the money. There's certain fighters that are just wired that way.
I don't know, not a daily debate question, but maybe a show question. Five matchups you wouldn't mind seeing over and over again if you had to. Gun to the head, you're forced to see these two guys fight again, and the different outcomes, obviously, like natural
in
would
their
happen.
Era, like when they
Lewis and Ngannou. Well, no, because are you saying a fight that didn't pan out, but I think it would the second time around?
It doesn't matter really. I mean, I don't know if you'd want to. That's even more of a gamble. Like for example,
why would you want to do that?
Like some guys seem like
because I thought I misheard Dan. I thought he meant a fight that didn't live up, but you think the second time would be gangbusters. Because Ngannou came back on Blades. That was the old Ngannou, and Lewis came back and fought, a great fight against, or a great comeback against Volkov. So I can't see that fight.
I guess I meant more like, and God forbid I would not want this fight on either guy because it just seems like it killed him, whether it was getting to the scale or the fight itself. But Yoel Romero versus Robert Whittaker, I feel like you could pair those guys up every time, and you're hard pressed to get a bad fight. You could go super hipster like that. I like to bring up Matt Grace, Dennis Bermudez a lot, but that was just an incredible. That was like two styles that just seemed to complement each other. Two guys to go at it. Chandler Alvarez was always a good fight when they locked up.
Was that in Anaheim, California? Grace and Bermudez?
Man, I got my notes in front of me. I have that one written down. It very well could have been, though. Yeah, very well could have been. Either that or actually I think it might have been an MGM Grand one.
Okay. So what's another fight I'd want to see? How about Diaz and Daly again?
I feel like even though it was
Daly.
short, I feel like that's a great bet. I feel like no matter all the different ways that fight could go, it's going
That's
to
a
be
little bit
exciting.
of the Hearns-Hagler. Didn't we have a conversation?
Oh, yeah.
What's the Hearns
that was on
Hagler?
our way.
And we said it couldn't be a 15-minute fight because they only went 3 out of 12 rounds. So it had to be a fight that kind of like didn't get out of the first because that's a third of a fight.
Maybe like a little bit out of the first.
Yeah, and I threw that one out. I think Goes liked it, right? You approved?
Which one?
Paul Daly versus Nick Diaz.
That was a good one. I threw out but it wasn't UFC, but it was Palomino and Gagey. Because that had a finish in it, and they did battle for a while.
Yeah.
I like yours, and I've seen it brought up Hagler Hearns. I have no issue with it, although I will say in my round of the year article, I actually compared Hagler and Hearns to the one I had chose, which was Thiago Santos versus Jimmy Manoa. Very similar, maybe a round difference, but the story was set in the first round like Hagler and Hearns. A little opposite, where you had the longer precision puncher getting hurt in Manoa, as opposed to Hagler getting hurt by the longer precision puncher and Tommy Hearns in their fight. But there were clinches. Richard Steele didn't really allow him to work in the clinch, but
Richard Steele?
Yeah, Richard Steele was refereeing Hagler Hearns.
Oh, okay.
He didn't. So they had similar kind of narratives of the fight. So there was a lot of clinch work in the break of the action, which was kind of different because Richard Steele wasn't allowing them to clinch. Ironically, in boxing, where then MMA, of course, they're allowing them to clinch more. And these guys were getting a little respites in there, but yeah, man, the other guy ends up turning it around. And
that was just in the forum,
know.
right? The last UFC, Santos and Manoa.
That was Toronto, Canada,
Was it
UFC 231. Yeah, the main
Holy
card.
cow, those guys hit each
It
other.
was just
Yeah, that's right.
insane.
We were over there. I remember those guys hitting each other, and we were just like,
That was crazy.
jaws open. It sounded like just flesh and bones were cracking, and that was a violent fight.
Hagler is probably one of the last guys that I've never met in person that would make me have the reaction that I had with Roberto Duran.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, I think I've met pretty much almost all of my heroes. I think.
okay.
He's one of my favorite guys to play. My favorite Super Nintendo game, Legends of the Ring. You could be
Marvin
like Rocky
Hagler?
Graziano, Jake LaMotta. I would be Hagler a lot, or I would be LaMotta. Hagler or LaMotta were like my main two guys, I think.
All right. Well, those are our two guests, and the first one's early in the first hour. In fact, he's coming up soon, so we'll probably be breaking a little earlier than usual. And then between the two guests, 5:20 p.m. Pacific, 8:20 Eastern. That's Lewis, and Pastore, 6:40 p.m. Pacific and 9:40 p.m. Eastern. We have a huge pocket to talk about the latest MMA news, which there's not much of, and the latest fight bookings and all the controversies in our sport that never get old, or whatever's on your mind. 877-FIGHT-93 or 877-344-4893. That's the same thing. 877-FIGHT-93 is the easier one to remember, but the one you want to lock into your phone is 877-344-4893. Call in, and the Iron Man will put you through.
Iron Man's got a Hagler story. You want to hear it?
Sure.
So, all right, it's not a long. I'll condense it a little. Long story short is I was supposed to. You guys remember when the Entourage movie came out and Turtle was like, if I last a round in the ring to Ronda, then she had to go out with him.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I tried to do that with like a hot chick boxer. It didn't work out. I ended up sparring with Jerry Cooney and realizing I essentially had no balls to be a fighter. So I was telling that story to Marvin Hagler at the International Boxing Hall of Fame. He looks at me, he's like, "Man, you're too pretty to box."
That's awesome. What have
It's
you?
fantastic. And I agree with him.
I actually heard the sparring, how that went as well.
With
It,
Cooney.
it
Jerry
was rough.
Cooney. I think it was a couple jabs to the nose, kind of like ended it, right?
All two of them. And then the year after that,
On whose side?
Cooney and I saw Hagler again the year after. He's like, "Man, you got a good nose, not like Jerry. Look at his," because Jerry's is a little bent.
Oh
So,
wow!
love Marvin Hagler.
So after Marvin said that to you, Jumbo, did Marvin put his hand on your thigh, or what is he when he called you pretty, or how did that? What's the follow up to that?
What happens at the Boxing Hall of Fame stays at the Boxing Hall of Fame.
That happened to me, Dan Tom.
What?
In San Francisco.
No.
Yeah, in San Francisco, I went to the 1994 NFC Championship game, and yeah.
I never heard this.
I thought I said it on the show.
This is a late
But I said
Sandusky
it such
story.
a long time ago that I don't mind retelling it,
Okay,
because I know
alright.
we always have new listeners.
Were the mini Lions in
So
town?
this is what happened. I went to the 49ers versus the Dallas Cowboys. It was the NFC Championship. That's the year we had Deion Sanders. And they had kind of been taking it to us the last few years, but we kind of retooled the team, reloaded the team, and we had an awesome year. We fly up, myself and the girl I was dating at the time, to San Francisco. And we just figured we're going to get tickets there, whether we have to pay a scalper or because it was sold out, but we just wanted to be there. We got lucky. We were actually in the hotel that the team stays in. So that was real cool. And that was not planned, by the way. I don't know. I can't remember at this point, but I know the team stayed there and they had a breakfast there. And a lot of the another way we got lucky was the I guess the booster club of Niners.
Mm-hmm.
They have a big breakfast there, and so what that allowed was they had buses to the stadium because it was about a 15-minute drive. So we were able to hop on one of those buses. So that was cool. But all right, let's get to the game. Was on a Sunday. This was Saturday night, and we're just kind of asking around, see who has tickets, trying to figure out how we're going to get into this damn game. And a guy goes, I got these two, you know. All right, cool. It wasn't an outrageous price. That's why we bid on it. I think had he said more, maybe we would have, like, I mean, it was 1994. There was no scanning or barcodes or nothing, you know. You just had to take someone for their word. But we were on our toes knowing that, hey, this could be fake tickets. So we go, and she actually bought them. And so I thought we were set. Now, the next day, I got ready, and I go, I'll be downstairs at the bar waiting, and then, you know, the girls take longer. So she was going to come down, and so I'm at the bar, and this guy, there's one spot there, and then this dude, older guy, was just like, hey, you know, where you from? Yeah, I'm from Orange County. Flew up for the game. Oh, cool. But he's having a few.
Okay.
And he is starting to become a name dropper. You know what I mean? He's just throwing out all these big names. And I don't even know if name dropper was a term, you know, but I was like, wow, you sure know a lot of people, I think is what I told him. And
Gee, mister.
He said, yeah. And he didn't show me a cell phone. This was 1994. He showed me his, not even like a black book or an address book, but kind of like, what do you call it?
Carried one? A photo album?
No.
Address book?
Yeah, but a bigger one, you know, like a bigger address book, I guess.
Like those business ones?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he was showing me, you know, Ditka and Simpson or whoever, you know, all the big names that he was throwing out there. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, because for a while there I was like, you sure know a lot of people, but I think I gave him a vibe like, you sound like a bullshitter. But no. And then he was drinking, and another round and one for my friend. So now I'm like, all right, he's buying good. You know, that'll save me some dough. And he just looked like he had all kinds of dough because he had rings and everything. And through all this, I think he thinks we were hitting it off.
Oh, wow.
Right? But we were like, I don't even know if the fist bump was in then. So we were high-fiving, jokes, whatever. Here's what made him kind of interesting. Do you remember in the late 80s and 90s when a team would win, those little cartoon T-shirts every team would get?
Yeah, like the Lakers had theirs. And
right. So he actually said he was in that business of apparel, right?
Okay.
And he goes, and I didn't believe him, and he actually showed me the prototype of what the Niners one was going to look like and the Cowboys one was going to look like or whatever. So he was showing me like a lot of stuff. So I knew he had a big place in the NFL, you know, whatever he was doing. And he told me that he had a suite. So when I heard that, I was like, boy, it sure would be nice to give a sob story and see if he says, come on up to the suite. You know what I mean?
Oh,
my God. That was my angle. And so as we're doing, shit, we got to get to Derrick Lewis. And so anyway, fast forward. We're drinking, and I'm kind of saying, yeah, I got these dumb, shitty seats, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, whatever it was he said to me, and I'm rushing to the story. I'm not going to be able to remember. But he said, like, what are you doing after the game? And he leans over and puts his hand on my thigh. Just like you asked Jumbo Josh. Same thing. And I just went, oh, man, I froze. Part of me wanted to just punch him, right? Just because I froze, and I didn't know, like, you know, like sometimes a person will lean. Like, you ever see Ray Lewis? He's always doing it on I was like, what is going on? And just then, Michelle, my ex-girlfriend, saved me. She goes, he's going to be with me. She had just walked up. And she goes, he's going to be with me. And he kind of went like, all right then, you know, he took his hand off. And that was it. And she grabbed me. She goes, let's go. And I was like, I was in shock. I didn't know what to say. Nothing was coming out of my mouth. She pulled me away, and she started taking us to the bus.
You're like, can I take a shower first?
Montana and Rice, we're all going to party. Would you look over at Michelle and go, sis, settle down, or something like that, or roll the dice a little bit?
I was frozen, Goes. I was frozen. I didn't know what to do.
Did you take a shower first before the game, or?
No, I went straight to the bus.
Take a shower.
We got to get out of here. All right, let's take this quick break. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93. Stay close. We'll be right back with Derrick Lewis.
La 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 la.
They were kicked off the set of The Fast and the Furious for being too loud and too good-looking. Once again, here's gorgeous George and Goes.
Oh, nice. You got Derrick Lewis's theme song?
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you grow your sports investments. From this week's NFL playoff matchups and Super Bowl odds to tonight's NBA schedule featuring the Thunder and the Spurs, your picks, predictions, and analysis to help you benefit on Fantasy Sports Radio Series 210, XM87, streaming on your SiriusXM app and at home on connected devices and speakers. All right, so we're going to have Derrick Lewis on in just a bit. We had a slight problem, but he'll be on. Yeah, he'll be on. And we'll talk to him about the recent fight booking. March 9th, he is headed to Wichita, Kansas to fight Junior Dos Santos at UFC Fight Night. UFC on ESPN Plus 4. So confusing, man. I wish they would just stick with the Fight Night numerical.
Where'd you hear
series.
that news, George?
On MMAjunkie. It got broken on MMAjunkie.
Yeah, hopefully we figure it out soon, because I know internally we've been going back and forth on these titles. They're still listing it off as UFC Fight Nights, yet they were numbering off the ESPN Plus events. I'm
Here's
confused.
the 4 different ways you can call it. UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Dos Santos. Or UFC on ESPN Plus 4. Or UFC Fight Night 146. And that night, they're going to call it UFC Wichita. It's all over the place. Anyway, let's talk to the big man himself, Derrick Lewis. What's up, D? How you doing?
Not much. Just finished doing the housework. How y'all doing?
What were you doing, brother?
Hanging up curtains.
Hanging up curtains. All right.
Hanging up curtains. All right. That's acceptable for a man in his position, right?
Because he's
If he said
tall.
cleaning gutters or something like that, nah, he's past that now.
Yeah.
He's bringing home big cheddar.
Demetrius Johnson used to cut his own lawn, and then I think he won the world title. No, he actually had a couple title defenses, and then finally said enough. He started hiring people to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, you got
Yeah, I almost had that job, but I'm still cutting my own grass, so.
Are you really?
Yeah, I still cut my grass.
Why?
It's a workout. It's a workout to me.
What's wrong with just a workout?
Yeah, well, I sweat really easy, so I like cutting my own grass.
I've seen the
Lose a
countdown.
couple of pounds.
You have a really, really nice crib. Is it? How big is the backyard though? Like, is it a lot that you're cutting?
Oh yeah, it's a lot. But I just moved into my new home last week.
No shit. All right.
It's even bigger. So they've been building it since June. They just finished 2 weeks ago.
Congratulations. Do you have what's often referred to as a man cave, your own little spot to get away from everybody?
Yeah, I got man cave, media room, office, and my kids got 3 bedrooms and my master bedroom. So basically, I got like 6, 7 rooms.
Damn.
Is there a guest room or anything in case I'm ever
Yeah.
in town and need a place to crash?
Can we come over? That's going to be my new thing in
No, I
2019.
turned that into a man cave already. I already turned that into a man cave. Threw the mattress out, so y'all can sleep at the Holiday Inn, though.
Oh, okay. All
Hey,
right.
by the way, you can't get that big of a workout on a riding mower. You get that, right?
Yeah, right. I gotta keep my ass on there.
All right, Derrick. So listen, we were talking about you earlier because I have a theory. You've often said, I fight for the money. I want to take care of my family. But guess what? You've been making a lot of money, especially in that last fight. And being so close to...
I keep track of my money more than my wife do. How much I got paid? Then tell me how much I got paid last year.
He knows.
Oh, for the year?
Yeah.
Okay, wait, hold on. You got...
We estimated...
I'm gonna give you an educated guess. All right?
There's taxes coming up, too, so let me know how much I made, because I forgot.
All right, he fought 4 times in 2018. Tabora, Ngannou, Volkov, and Cormier. So I figure he...
Wait. Can I make him a bet while you're doing that?
Sure.
Doing the math?
Yeah.
If he gets within 200,000, Derrick, will you put a picture of him up in your man cave? And you can never explain that it was a bet. People ask, you just go, I just like the guy. But he's got to get within 200,000 of George in your man cave.
Of what I made?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
All right.
cool. That's
So
cool.
I'm going to guess the average was he made 200 and 200. So that's 4, 8, 1.2. I see that he had a bonus in the Volkov fight. That's another 50. So that's 1.255. And then we trapped his ass. When it came down to the title fight, I was asking him questions like 7 figures. Remember all that?
Yeah.
And I kind of tricked him a little bit. And I think he made about $1 million there. So I'm going to guess last year in 2018, you made $2.3 million in 2018.
No. Way off.
I'm hoping I'm off. I'm
It's
too
under
low.
that. It's under that. I wish I did make $2 million. It was under that.
There's no way.
Yeah.
Okay, look, if I'm off, I'm off. But there's no way I'm way off, right? Am I way off?
Well, your second job, the IRS or what? Because if the IRS here, you're talking about some 2 point something, and they gonna be like, hey, where the rest of that money at?
Hey, listen, it ain't going to take a genius at the IRS to just go, oh, he fought 3 times. Let's look at the commission and see what they report. But anyway, all right. Either way, here's what I was getting at. Now that I know that you just bought yourself a huge house, and you used to fight for the money, and now you can take care of your family. Because you were so close to the title, now that you start on a new journey and a new win streak with this JDS fight, is now the road to maybe wear some gold, Derrick? Did anything change because of that fight, because of this great year you had?
No, everything is investment this year right now. Everything is investments. So everything, I'm opening up new businesses and find more homes and running them out. So that's what I'm doing this year.
So it's still about stacking paper. The title doesn't really mean much.
No, it don't mean anything. You know, it means a little bit more than what it was last year, but it's still, I don't have to have the title.
Okay.
You know? I just signed a new contract 2 days ago. Whenever they announced the fight,
okay.
So I'm feeling good about this fight too, and I'm real happy about my contract that I just signed. And so, you know, everything is looking up. Even though I'm coming off a loss, I'm happy, I'm satisfied, and I still got the hunger in me.
Man, I'm so glad to hear that. As a Derrick Lewis fan, the fact that he wants it a little bit more than he did prior to the title fight, that's great. He deserves the new contract because he fights frequently, so you can always count. I just named off 4 fights in 2018. You can always count on, you know, your guy fighting. There's too many fighters are sitting on the shelves, and Derrick is very, very active. So congratulations on all that, Derrick. You definitely deserve it, man. Serious.
Yeah, for sure. You know, but the UFC still tried to get me a fight in January, the 12th. Sometime in the January, they wanted me to fight on the first card of the ESPN card to be main event. And I'm like, this already, like 3 weeks after the Cormier fight, they're already trying to offer me a fight, or actually 2 weeks after the Cormier fight, and they already was trying to offer me the fight in January. So, the first week of January, or first few weeks of January, wherever the first card is on ESPN.
What'd they offer you?
Stipe.
Okay, and what'd you tell them? Like,
was
it hell no? Because I think they were a little out of line.
Yeah, it was like, I already said I wanted some time off.
Right.
You know, I guess whenever I want time off, they really don't hear nothing. What I say whenever I say that, they don't hear me. You know, I still would like to fight Stipe. You know, it really didn't matter who I fight, but I just wanted some time off because I just had fought for the title on short notice anyways, you know, and I still wanted the time off. Yeah. I wasn't planning on fighting no more time this year, last year anyway, and they wound up popping up with DC, and I said, okay, I'll fight. But I still had wanted time off before that fight, and I definitely wanted time off after the DC fight, and so I believe I had enough time off now, and ain't no way I would have fought in January, though.
Right. No, I
maybe would have fought in February, but for sure I'll fight in March.
Yeah, so anybody that's listening here, I mentioned he fought 4 times in 2018, but 3 of those fights came in the second half of the year. And 2 of those fights were like less than a month apart. And I remember in New York he was saying, I really didn't want this, but all right, I'm stepping up. It's a title shot, but what I really want is time off afterwards. To tell you the truth, I thought the JDS signing was – like, I couldn't believe he was fighting that soon. I didn't think we were going to see Derrick till the summer of 2019. Yeah. But I was happy because I love watching the dude fight. And the fact that he got a new contract out of it makes me even more happy. Derrick, last question from me, and I'll turn over to the guys. I know you fear no one on this planet, but do you fear a style matchup? Like, you know, whether it's a wrestler or a cardio king or a this or a that, or, you know, somebody's got the reach. Are there certain matchups where you're like, oh, man, this one's going to be tough?
No, not at all. You know, I believe in myself. You know, I don't care what kind of style that they have. I believe that all I have to do is just touch them one time. You know, and I have a shot. I have a chance. No matter if they got way more experience than me or not. You know, I believe that I'm always in the fight. You know, even a few seconds or a couple of minutes into it, I always have a shot in the fight.
Derrick Lewis is our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. He has just signed on to fight former UFC heavyweight champion Junior Dos Santos in the main event at UFC on ESPN +4 on March 9th in Wichita, Kansas. Goes, what do you have for Derrick Lewis?
Derrick, I was just thinking about you the other day because, you know, we were talking about...
Why y'all thinking about me like that? Y'all never call me. I ain't call me for Christmas.
Because you change your number like every 2 months. You have a different cell phone number. Every time I've ever booked him for the show, they always say, and here's his new number.
Yeah.
Every single time. Yeah. But this is why I was thinking about you. whenever I hear John Jones say, I'd like to test myself at heavyweight, I'm willing to go up to heavyweight, because you're not a guy who's really interested in the belt, you like to stack that paper, have you ever thought about being the guy to say, hi, I'd like to welcome you to the heavyweight division, Mr. Jones? Would that ever interest you? Because I think that would be a fun fight, man.
I'll fight anybody. It doesn't matter. I like John. I like his style. I like his fighting. I like watching him fight. So I will fight anyone. I will fight John.
As far as Junior Dos Santos goes, when you look at the resume that he brings, the stylistic matchup, where does he rank on the list of opponents that you faced?
He probably ranked number 7 or 8.
God damn. He's the 7th or 8th toughest fighter you've ever faced? You sure you got...
Yeah.
You sure you didn't mishear the question? Wow, he's a former champion. I mean, Cormier...
That don't mean anything, man. That don't mean nothing. He's former champion in the UFC in the heavyweight division. That doesn't mean anything.
Man, the bloggers are chomping at the bit at that quote. Wow, okay.
Yeah, I know,
It's gonna say UFC's Lewis, and it's gonna have the semicolon, and it'll say Dos Santos, the 7th or 8th toughest fight I've ever.
Oh yeah, I know the headlines. Watch the headlines after this interview.
They'll probably be
all the little guys. The articles. Watch they make some bullshit article and be like, oh yeah, Derrick is talking shit. Oh, Derrick want to fight John Jones, and oh, Derrick is saying shit about JDS.
It'll probably be followed by a quote that says, Derrick Lewis said this on his 6th or 7th favorite show.
Yeah, really. We're probably not even.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
All right, Dan, Tom, what do you have?
Maybe losing his mind. Yeah.
Go ahead, Dan.
Hey, Derrick, I was surprised you didn't mention when we were doing the money talk as far as your earnings for 2018. You didn't mention any or incorporate your TV show, because I'm looking at your Instagram and it says first day you filmed was December 7th. So I got to imagine that qualifies. So does that qualify into your 2018 earnings? But more importantly, can you tell us about this TV show?
Shit, I forgot what it said in my contract.
Are you supposed to put a lid on it for a certain amount of time, or what?
The TV show gonna be on CW, and it should be airing maybe next month. Season 3 of the TV show that I'm doing. So you gotta stay tuned on my Instagram. I don't know if I could say. I forgot what my contract said, so I was signing 2 different contracts at the same time. One for a TV show and one for a movie that I'm filming in February.
Well, we're not trying to get you in trouble or anything, Derrick, but I did want to ask you about that movie that you just brought up, because you mentioned it in your post as well, and I looked on IMDb, and you're listed as rumored. It says rumored note as Tully in the movie Pop Rocks with Mikey Ruckus. Is that fake news, Derrick, or is that real news?
With Terry Crews still in it?
It just says Mikey Ruckus listed, and it says you're rumored as Tully. I don't think they update this too fast, although it's official. So yeah, they only got 2 listed right now.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's my name in the movie, Tully.
And do you know what the movie entails, or do you have to prep for this kind of role, or anything you could share on that front?
Really just be myself, really. It should be a real good movie. I'm excited for it. I've been studying my notes. It's still not the final script that they sent to me. They're going to send me another script and see which one that really fit my character.
Derrick, but the filming's in February, so the question obviously comes up here: how does that interfere, if it does at all, with your camp?
If you only knew what I do between camps, you would be like, no way in the world, this guy is ranked number 2 in the world, and this is the way he trained, and this is how he prepared for his fights. So this, doing the movie or whatever, is not even a little bit compared to the stuff that I don't be, what I should be doing in my fight camp, but I don't.
All right. Well,
let that marinate.
Yeah, no, I am thinking about it. But see, we have you on quite frequently, and every time we have you on, you always tell us you turn the corner and the training's getting tougher and you're getting more committed. Are you still saying, though, that even though that is true, there's still a huge ceiling in terms of how much more you could give to training or your camps?
Yeah, the last 2 fights I really did turn it up. You know, and since my last fight, I really been lazy as hell. I ain't gonna lie to you. I've been lazy. I ain't been doing nothing. But this weekend, today or whatever, I've been training hard.
How's your weight, Derrick?
My weight is under 280. Usually I'm almost 290. Right now I'm in 270 something right now.
Oh, okay. That should be easy. I mean, you're still 2 months away.
Yeah, usually I'm already at 285 though, 290.
Gotcha.
But I haven't been in the 80s since the last fight.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, heavyweight is going to be exciting in 2019. It sounds like Cormier either bows out, retired sometime in March, and it sounds like maybe him and Lesnar got something going on. I don't know. But either way, that thing's going to be pretty wide open, So do you feel like you and Junior, whoever wins, occupies the spot for the vacant title, unless Lesnar takes it from DC? But if DC wins and just kind of has to, let it go because he retires, do you feel like this fight is so important that you should get one seat at the table?
I never even thought about it, but if I could pull a win off, then of course that'd be great to get another shot. Mm-hmm. But if not, I'm not mad. I'm not gonna be sad or nothing like that, complaining. It is what it is.
Derrick, when you got back from New York, what did your family and friends? What they tell you, and was it tough taking that loss? I mean, DC's a great fighter. It's not like there's any shame in that. But was that a tough one for you? A tough one for the family, or was there more like, hey, I'm proud of you, Dad, type of talk from the family versus anything else?
Everyone just was saying that, I looked real good in there, and I believe myself too that I was in real good shape, and I just got caught with a submission that used something I never got caught with before. And I guess being a mixed martial arts, you got to be prepared for everything. And I was real hesitant of getting up the way I did. Usually that's how I get up, but I usually get up a little quicker than what I did, so they wouldn't have a chance to seek in the rear naked choke.
Okay.
But I'm still get up the same way.
Yeah.
So let everyone else know that too. I'm still get up the same way.
Derrick Lewis is our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. All right, let's finish up. I think, Dan, we're back with you. What you want to finish up with Derrick Lewis?
Yeah, just one question, Derrick. And yeah, on that note, you certainly, your get-ups are deceptively tough. I think anybody knows what they're watching knows that you're a very formidable challenger. I don't think anybody doubts that. But just a quick note, Derrick, you said you would be surprised at what you do between camp, and I got to follow up on that. Does that mean you have been exercising your free Popeyes, sir? That is all I want to know. George is over here asking about money. I'm curious about that free food deal. That's where my head's at, if that says anything. How's that been going, Derrick?
I haven't picked the card up yet. They told me I got to go to that location and pick the card up. I've been busy. I haven't picked my card up yet, and I haven't been to Popeyes since the fight.
Dude, these guys...
I don't believe that.
No way. These guys, and myself included, would have been there the next day.
Yeah.
24 hours, give us max.
Come on, man.
No, my wife did bring home Popeyes 2 weeks ago, but she paid for it. I told her, why are you paying for it? She just told them.
Did she say, because you haven't gone to pick up your card, fool?
I need to go pick it up.
How far is it?
About it?
How far is it? Is it 60 minutes away or something? I mean, it can't be that far, right?
No, it's half a mile away.
Oh my God!
You know, it'd be cool.
You could go in the lawn. I'm not riding the lawnmower.
Can you Instagram you picking it up? But can you Instagram you picking it up? But the way you were dressed, that one video that you did where you went around your house and you had the bow tie and all that stuff. Can you go that way? Yes. And just go, hi, I'm Derrick Lewis, and pick it up like that.
No, man, that was controversial. You know, the way things is now, I can't really talk about stuff like that.
No.
It got even worse. This year, last year and all that, it got worse. I can't talk about stuff like that no more. Everybody getting sensitive now. You know that.
Everybody's sensitive now.
Yeah. All right. All right, man. Well, listen, we are really stoked that you're back in the game. Again, I thought you were going to take at least 6 months off. I thought for sure July in Vegas was when you were going to come back. But I am excited. I think it's a great matchup. I would politely and respectfully disagree. I think he's probably in your top 3 toughest matchups. But, hey, you're the one in there, not me. But either way, I know it's going to be a great one. It deserves to be the headliner.
I can't say how tough it's going to be. Tougher a fighter is compared to me, and I never even fought him before. You say compared to the guys that I fought already. I haven't even fought him yet.
Well, I think
going in, though,
he's going to be the toughest fighter I ever had.
I think Go said on paper.
Yeah,
so.
on paper, like going in, you got to have like a feeling. All right, this guy is somewhere here.
But no one in the UFC is a fighter like I am. I'm completely different than any other fighter that's in the UFC. Most of the guys are mixed martial artists. I'm not a mixed martial artist. I'm a brawler.
Are you sure?
He's a badass motherfucker is what he is. Derrick don't play, man.
Nah,
Derrick's got 21 wins in the UFC. He's got 18 of those by KO. So not only is that a high finishing rate, it's a high, extremely high KO finishing rate. And then look at the streaks he's had in the UFC, man. He's had some really, really nice streaks in his career.
He also hit a nice ninja armbar on Raheem Cleveland back in the day. I'm still waiting for Derrick Lewis to bust out those skills again, Derrick. Trying to play it off like you just know how to brawl. You know what I'm talking about.
Hey, man. Hey, y'all, I ran my bath water about 30 minutes ago, and the water's getting cold now.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm on the phone bullshitting with y'all. My water's cold, so my water bill over here is going to be kind of high.
All right.
So I'm going to have to run some more hot water.
2.3 won't cover that?
Thanks for the time, D. Good talking to you, all right?
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, see you, man. That is Derrick Lewis, one of the most entertaining fighters in and out of the octagon. He's got an Instagram that most fighters say that's my favorite Instagram. But the Twitter handle is @thebeast_UFC. The Instagram handle, which we usually don't really throw out there. I guess we did the show before the Instagram craze started, so we never really got used to it. But I got to throw it out there. You got to follow him there at @thebeastUFC. All right, so we're going to take a quick break here. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93. Stay close. We'll be right back.
Dan's voice got weird.
Too much a minute.
Yeah, baby.
Good for you, baby.
Injuries forced them to retire undefeated from MMA with a record of 0-0-0. They are Gorgeous George and Goes. And this is MMA Junkie Radio.
All right, folks. About 25 minutes ago, Russell Westbrook and the Oklahoma City Thunder, they started their duel with DeMar DeRozan and the San Antonio Spurs. If you want to listen to that game, it's NBA Radio, Series 207, XM86, streaming on your phone and at home on Sirius XM connected devices and speakers. All right. I wanted to do the daily debate, but I think we're going to be a little tight on time. So I think, to be fair, yesterday I was roasting my buddies a little bit, and I'm going to give them a chance to roast me back. Yesterday, you know, I was talking about my buddies Woody and Squid, the Cowboys fans that just decided not to go to the game. They had dumb comebacks. One of them had a dumb comeback. One of them says, "This coming from a guy who hasn't been to a UFC or Bellator show in 5 years."
That's just made up, right?
That's a dumb comeback.
It's not even close.
It's not. Yeah, you're right. Because I was at the last California Temecula show. I was at that one. It was this past summer. I saw Lima Lane McFarland defend her title that night.
Yeah.
So that clearly was there. And then I was with you at Miocic and Cormier. So that was this past summer as well.
We just went to a couple fight nights.
Yeah. So I looked at that and I go, really? Like, come on. Now, I do want to give Woody credit. He had an awesome bag the other day. This is all about when you have a great comeback, throw it. And if you can throw it quick, even better. But when you don't force it. You know what I mean? Don't force it. If you don't have one, you just live to fight another day. Squid, you know how the CES show's in town? You guys know what that is? Consumer Electronics. Well, attached to the Consumer Electronics show, I think, is the AVN Awards. And so Squid was showing us a little promotion of, I guess, you can get tickets to the AVN Awards. And so Squid joked around. He goes, "I already confirmed my tickets. How about you guys?" So he's implying he's a porn actor, right? And right away, like, this would have been impressive if we were just with each other, but right away, Squid or Woody wrote him back. He goes, "Are you up for Fluffer of the Year?" Oh, man.
That's a good one.
That was a good one.
You just got to take that.
That's a good one.
Yeah, there's not even sense fighting it.
Squid took it. He didn't say, like, "Oh, yeah, well, you know, I slept with your mom." He didn't say nothing like that.
You have to take that one.
He just said, pretty good, pretty good. But that one about you haven't been to a Bellator or UFC in 5 years, come on. Like that, you know, that came from the same guy.
That's panic mode.
He was a genius in one instance and terrible in the other. But here's what they roasted me with. I told them, Big Pussy's going to be on our show today. So let's hear the best joke. And I won't give the names. They just are. One guy writes, "I thought you were on every night." Ha.
Good.
Will they have signs so the audience can tell you apart?
Pretty good, too.
It's as close as Gigi's been to pussy this year.
Yeah, that's really good.
Dress in black and tell people it's Big Pussy and Bacala together again. Take a photo for the website title before and way before. And the last one, Big Pussy sitting next to Big Ponza.
I like that one.
All right. We're coming up on the top of the hour break. We'll be gone for about 60 seconds, and then we'll be right back. If you want to call in and participate in the show, it's 877-FIGHT-93 or 877-344-4893. Locked out one in. It's MMA Junkie Radio.
this a
That's
remix?
pretty cool. Damn.
So good.
One more time. Damn.
They were forged from the same ball sack, but act as though they've never met. They are the brothers Garcia, Gorgeous George and Goes.
All right, the second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show. We were talking about, well, I guess that story that I mentioned. I got rushed off a little bit. I want to tell you guys a quick part two. Remember how I told you we bought the tickets? The girlfriend came, put me on the bus. We went. When we got there, we got inside the stadium. We got to the seats, and
the guy was there waiting for you.
No, us two, we were a couple, right? And there was about 10 other George and Michelle's.
What?
This is when I was dating Michelle. There was about 10 other couples standing there, and they're all kind of arguing and discussing. And when I got there, I'm like, I didn't even have a chance to say, excuse me, like I'm going to, you know, row J, seats 4 and 5. Whatever. I didn't even have a chance because they go, row J, seats 4 and 5. And we're like, yeah, come with us.
Oh, you got scammed?
We got scammed, and they just used the same ticket. So I guess that guy went around and just sold the same specific tickets to as many people as he could. But at least there was at least 20 of us there, so 10 sets of tickets. So we all went down, and at that time they're going starting at cornerback, Eric Davis starting at, you know, so we're getting close to game time. And so we walked down, and luckily they said we saved some tickets for problems like these, but we had to repay. So that guy did get our money, but we had to repay, and like it was another $200 each for the tickets. But we did good to run up there and watch the game, and
not even like a half off or something.
Nothing, man.
Was it a better seat than when you were?
It's not our problem. It was about the same. It was up there. It wasn't like a great seat.
So technically, if you had bought a shitty seat and that happened, and they go, now you got this, at least maybe
then
you
I'd be
made up
stoked.
some ground.
Yeah, because remember we had a problem at Mayweather Guerrero, right? Was it?
Yeah, yeah.
And we not that type of problem.
That guy on blast,
no, we can't. Not that type of problem. It wasn't a scam, but it was just what happens is if certain tickets aren't claimed, they get put back into a system. But sometimes there's just like a 1 minute, you know, crossover where there's just extra tickets floating out there. But that's what Goes and I did. We actually made our way to a better seat, and we were with Rob Cardenas and Andrew Simon for that event. And that's the one time.
You guys had 2 different tickets than we did.
That's the one time we went to an actual Mayweather fight, and I remember in the 8th or 9th round, Mayweather had easily shown us that he was the way better fighter. We already knew going in he was the better fighter, but by now he had banked the rounds. And even Mayweather fans felt like there could have been a finish, and he wasn't doing it, and his own people were booing him. His own fans were booing him. They were leaving the stadium, and I thought that was a little sad because I thought, God, come on, Floyd, like, you're better than this guy. Put him away. You know, that was a chance for him to really put someone away, and he didn't. But that's what happened that one weekend in San Francisco.
That sucks.
Yeah. All right. Did you have your story, or you want me to do the daily debate?
I don't know that I can tell that story. It's really long, though.
All right. Well, if you change your mind, let us know.
All
right. Time for the daily debate. We're all good?
Now you can intro it. Go ahead.
All right. Time for the daily debate. Brought to you by the MMA Junkie Radio team. Here we go. Is John Jones, guys, is he vindicated now that his UFC 232 drug test came back clean? And for those that don't know, he was tested by the California State Athletic Commission post-fight, and those tests have come back clean. Here are your choices, yes and no, but it's a little bit more specific. It's yes, 100%, so no doubt, guys. No, he has more to prove, or do you fall into this category of doesn't make a difference? Why don't you go first this time, guys?
I think I'm going to fall under doesn't. It's tough. See, I want to say doesn't make a difference because it's.
Well, so what you're saying is he could pass 100 tests and it's not going to make a difference to you?
Well, when we're talking about his legacy, who he is at the end, it doesn't make a difference. For this particular fight, I buy that. If that's what they say, then that's what I'm good with that. It means he didn't do anything, that's good. But if we're talking about in the past or my feelings towards him in the future, he's still got a lot to prove. And I don't know that. There's just no way it won't tarnish his legacy. So, man, I almost feel all three of them, but I guess I'm going to go with he has more to prove.
All right. So the question is John Jones vindicated? You're saying he has more to prove.
Yeah.
So he's not vindicated in your eyes.
No.
How about you, Dan?
You know, I wanted to go he has more to prove, and I can maybe cite things why, but it's tough. I'm on similar lines as Goes, but when usually if we're on similar lines, I'll try to, look at the results, and not to tip too much of that, but the results seem to mimic my tornness on this topic from these two options, because I'm going to end up siding guys with doesn't make a difference, because the pulsing effect, or whatever we want to call it, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, whether you understand it or not, that is what the UFC, the commissions, John Jones, and Jeff Nowitzki is going with, guys. So the fact that it can not show up and then show up again, it's going to just lead us into some kind of rigmarole, some turnaround, and we'll be back asking us the same question again. And that's why I say it really makes no difference. However, I would like to add that I would say people aren't wrong, but they're not crazy for saying he has more to prove, guys, because I believe that he was digging his way out of the hole come UFC 214, but those positive tests to what it led us to today, I think is kind of dug even a deeper hole, I would argue, for John Jones in that regard. He doesn't have to prove his skills. He's a skillful fighter, but he has to prove that he can just show up and fight without any controversy.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you, Dan, and I guess I'm contrary to Goes here. I'm on doesn't make a difference. I'll tell you why, because of the previous problems that he's had. And so if it was one time, like JDS, we brought his name up earlier when we talked to Derrick Lewis, he was cleared. He still had to finish out a sentence, I guess, air quotes.
Yeah.
But he was cleared, and I think anyone that you talk to is not going to have a problem going tainted supplements, and we all feel pretty good about that. But see, John's had a couple different incidents, and this one, for me, doesn't vindicate him. I'll probably need about another 5 fights with the strict testing, and for this little pulsing effect or these picograms to not come back, and then maybe then can I rest easy. But the only reason this comes up, honestly, I still think he's a great fighter, a great champion.
Yes.
He's in the GOAT talk. It only really comes up when we're talking about GOAT talk.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the supreme court of fighters, the GSPs, the Mighty Mouses, DCs, all those guys, and we're splitting hairs.
Yep.
Because they're all outstanding. They'll have title defenses and everything. But you can always go back, but there's that little shred of doubt on a couple of those dudes, and that's Silva and John Jones.
Hairs. Those are Mohawks. That's a big deal. It's nice when you're talking GOAT talk to not have to point to any of that.
Right.
To look at GSP and not have to say, but did he?
Right.
That's a big deal in my eyes.
Yeah.
If you have to do that for anyone, then that guy shouldn't even be in the talk.
But that's only GOAT talk, because
that's GOAT talk.
If somebody just goes, "Is John Jones great?" What do you tell him?
Awesome fighter. Yeah, he's great.
Is he
one of the greatest of all time?
Right.
However, I probably say something that I always have to say that.
Yeah.
I don't have to say that with some other fighters.
Yeah,
it's true.
I'm gonna need some time. I'm gonna need about 5, probably a good 2019 and 20, about 5 fights, and then I'll probably be able to circle back to this and say, yeah, I think we are good, because John Jones' own silliness actually serves him right, because he's made these silly mistakes, these terrible mistakes in his personal life where you can go, yeah, I could see John not reading a label and goofing up that way versus other athletes who have just really wanted to get that edge.
Here's what's crazy is if you were to ask me, did he need to do that to win? I'd probably say, I don't think he did.
Me neither.
But
DC said the same thing.
If he felt that way, then he wouldn't have done it, right? So
I think we can agree on that, but parlaying into the results, guys, I think the issue, if anything, I have is the option of yes, 100% that came in as far as that.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
20%.
That surprised me. That's the most surprising thing of this.
By this one bit.
At all.
Yeah, the results actually were very, very close. It was doesn't make a difference, got 37%. No, he has more to prove, got 36%. And then in third place was yes, 100%. That was 27%, and that was over 1,500 votes that came in. Good job, Junkie Nation. Our readers of the site and our listeners of the show, we love you guys. Thanks for always participating in the daily debate.
That shocks me because we don't do that in real life. If you have a kid and your kid came home late, right? Say curfew's 11 p.m., comes in at 11:30, and you scold him. That's not the way it's supposed to be. You can't do that. And then the next night, he comes on late again, and you go, yay, what just happened? We just had this talk. And then the next night he comes on time. From there, you don't go, oh, he's probably in bed because he would never do that again. Like, you still kind of go, well, wait a minute. He's done this a few times. You need to kind of prove that you can do this the right way a lot of times before somebody could even take that out of their mind. I don't understand how you could say 100% just on one test.
Speaking of Anderson Silva, look at this story. I haven't read I read the headline, but I haven't read the story yet. Anderson Silva wants the UFC to rethink stance against TRT, which is testosterone replacement therapy. Now, look, I will say this. I've never had a problem with aging fighters just wanting to be able to recapture a little bit of their youth, I guess. Especially because there's supposed to be levels. But what sucks is they push past those levels and then cycle off just below to beat the test. Therefore, it can't. I don't think it can work. That's the problem. And for him to suggest it, somebody should have stopped them and said, "They're not going to do it. Don't even suggest it. Just leave it alone."
What I've heard about people who take that stuff is that they're not, once they start it, they're not the same without doing that again. Even emotionally, the way they act, all that stuff ties in together.
Your swag is gone?
Yeah. And so to me, if you need that to compete, then yeah, it's not fair.
Yeah. All right. Looks like Rafael dos Anjos and Santiago Ponzinibbio are agreeing to fight via a Twitter beef.
Yeah, that was...
I'm starting to like Twitter beefs.
Well, it makes the matchmaker's job easy, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like it's being thrown out there. The fans are basically giving you a small sample size of whether most fans will like it or not. You know, however many people are chiming in, liking or retweeting or sharing or whatever. It's a small percentage, but still, it's an important percentage. It gives them an idea of whether this fight is, they're pouring ice on it or if people are liking it. I can tell you this much, standing from, let me see, knowing that Woodley's facing Usman, Colby Covington doesn't want to fight anybody, this might make sense. Now, you're catching a guy coming off 2 losses, though. So if Ponzinibbio is willing to do it, then I guess we got ourselves a fight. But I really thought Ponzinibbio would be the one to go, hold on a second. I've been winning a lot of fights, and you've actually lost 2. Your last 2. I don't see how this really makes much sense. But if he's willing to do it, I think a lot of fighters are going to have to start considering that. The maybe not catching someone else coming off a win and staying busy. What were you going to say, Dan?
I figure RDA's management would say no to that fight. I mean, two guys just catapulted off your back for a title shot. You really going to let the next deserving guy take a matchup with that guy and just play along with that cog and be that cog in the machine?
Unless I'm mistaken, and it's not like I follow up on every fighter, but he manages himself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was with Ali.
That explains
Ali
it.
Abdelaziz, and they parted ways maybe about 2 years ago, and I don't think he's got another one. So he negotiates his own contracts and I guess makes his own calls. And so from his end, like I said, I think if he's catching a guy that's on a run like that and that guy's willing to do it, then he actually pulled off a caper.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that matchup for him either.
I remember his last fight at the end of it thinking, that seems like one of those fights where you don't come back from it 100%.
Well, the Covington fight, the Usman fight, the Ferguson fight in Mexico, I mean, RDA has been in some wars.
And I'm glad he's not getting arrested, but you just mentioned that Ferguson fight in Mexico, and if Ferguson was able to piece him up with the jab, Ponzinibbio, is a much more mobile and smarter version of, but smarter fighter than Ferguson in that regard. At least I'm a big Ferguson fan. I'm just saying it's a tough matchup. I could see that rearing its head.
Now here's a fight that, here's fight news.
All right.
It's a little disappointing. I like Jason Knight.
Okay.
They call him Hick Diaz.
Yeah.
He actually has fun stand-up to watch. Like, he's aggressive. He loves the fight. He's growing up fighting.
It's good with the mic.
And he's actually got some really, really good jiu-jitsu. He's very flexible. Even in losing efforts, he doesn't have a boring fight. The problem is he lost 4 in a row. Prior to that, he won 4 in a row. But apparently he's looking for a new home. The UFC and Jason Knight have parted ways. He right away took to Twitter and said, Bellator, 1 championship.
Ryzen, I think even.
He threw out another one. What's up? I was thinking maybe PFL. But I don't know if Ray Seffel's already come up with his list of guys or not.
About a week away from announcing them, isn't he?
Right. So that's between them. I don't know what Ray's looking for, but that's kind of what I thought, I guess, because that was the last organization that was kind of off the tip of our tongues. Bellator finished strong with the Hawaii shows. I obviously Ryzen did have a couple of events, but it seems like Ryzen's like twice a year. I don't know. 1 championship might be a spot for them. Who knows? Peter Yan signed a new contract, and he already announced his next fight booking. It's John Dodson at UFC Prague. Don't ask me what UFC fight night it is or ESPN Plus number it is. I don't know. I know it's in Prague, and it's sometime this spring. But that's going to be a fun fight, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can kind of see, though, like the way the matchmakers are leaning in this one, I think.
I don't know. John Dodson, man. He, I was just giving him some shine today. We were talking about we covered top 5 biggest fights there on Big Fox, and I was saying Demetrius Johnson versus John Dodson 1 is an underrated fight. It was pretty fun.
He gave him hell.
Knocked him down.
But yeah, and you can feel the momentum swings.
Was that the one where Demetrius had the cheek?
I believe so, and that could have been challenger bias because Demetrius still had that unbeatable aura at that weight class at least. But John Dodson can slow up some fights, man, and will make it. He's got that veteran savvy. So I don't know if he's going to give Peter Yan the same fight. Douglas De Silva de Andrade. It's a high level fight. It's a deserved fight. I'm excited. Both guys deserve their respect. But I don't know if it's going to be an action barn burner. I will say Jason Knight. Bummer, but you look at it. He's coming off 4 losses in a row. Last win came against Chad Skelly at UFC 211, May 13, 2017.
And the wrestlers are just grinding him, you know what I mean? He can't seem to stop that. That's that Achilles heel where no matter what, if you're exciting, you got to get up. You either got to attack and start creating submission attempts or get up. You can't just be, throwing elbows or you're not really mitigating too much of the damage from the guy on top.
I think Bellator is a better home for him because in that PFL format, when have you not seen a Jason Knight fight where he doesn't take he takes good damage even when he wins? I don't know that he could do that over and over like that. With that schedule would be too taxing, I think.
Let's take some calls. If you want to join these guys or follow these guys and gals, whoever they might be, I don't even know. It's 877-FIGHT-93 or 877-344-4893. Who do we got, Goose?
Let's go with Joe from H-Town.
What's up, Joe from H-Town?
Good morning, fellas.
Good evening, Joe. Unless you're in Asia.
Hey, man, take it easy, man. I mean, I want to talk about a whole bunch of stuff, but
I wasn't that out of line.
Hey, man. Hey, I've been only saying that for like 5 years. Take it easy, man. But I want to talk about a whole bunch of stuff, but you guys brought up a name, and I need to ask you a question about Ali Abdelaziz. Now, Kobe the other day said that he was doing favors for the UFC, and you guys didn't really ask him about that, so I'm asking you guys about that. What do you think he's talking about?
I asked him to reiterate that personally. I was the one that asked him about it, and then I even asked him to reiterate on that. But I mean, I guess I'll just take the lead here since I spoke up. I think the criticism is not not one that Colby just alone lobs. I think we've kind of heard that. I mean, Ali, I think we've been lucky on this show. If you guys agree, as far as like the version of Ali, I feel like we get a very honest and forthcoming. But yeah, I think you're alluding to the criticism that Ali gets on the other side of it, Joe. Is that what you're alluding to here?
No, I think this is what he's alluding to.
Okay.
Or did you want to say something?
Well, I think I know. I can't say with 100% what it is,
right,
but I would imagine when he says things like that, what he means is like, if I'm the matchmaker and I go, Ali, I need fighter A to turn this around and fight in 6 weeks. Ali will probably say, all right, let me talk to him. I'm pretty sure I can get him to do, but you know what? We need to get fighter B over here, one of my guys. He needs to fight, and I need you to make that happen now on this card or something. And the matchmaker probably says, all right, let's do that.
All right, I think there's a little bit of truth to what you're saying. I don't know that they would ever admit that, but yeah, I do believe it because I've heard from other agents that it does work that way.
Right.
But that was an era of about 5, 8, 10 years ago.
Okay.
All right, but I still feel like it would totally make sense. It's just that they could probably never be that forthcoming with it. I think what happened was, and I did catch it, and Colby glanced over it. But the problem was, I think we had him on for quite a while at that point, and Colby was just on fire. We were just letting him beat Colby, But I think what it was, Joe from H-Town, was he said that there's some upcoming litigation that he believes Ali helped out the UFC. Now, remember, the UFC's got stuff going on with the monopoly thing or whatever at all times or the union stuff. So I think there might be some litigation out there, and maybe Ali may have been called in. And these are Colby's words. He said it's going to come out soon. And because of that solid, maybe the UFC did him one. But that's an irate Colby Covington talking like we don't know how much truth there could be to something like that. Now, we know that there is some litigation going on, and I don't know why Ali would be called into it or whatever. But I that's kind of what I got from what Colby was saying.
Yeah, somebody actually sent me a link to something that I think you're right. I think I think you're right. Somebody sent me a link to that. But hey, I got a personal question, if you don't mind. I like going to strip clubs. Okay, all right. And I have a wife.
I like where this is
going.
going.
I have a wife that don't like me going to the strip clubs.
All right.
Okay, and I recently went behind her back. I had to pull a couple strings, but I made it work without her finding out. How can I convince her to let me go to the strip club? That's my question to the MMA Junkie Radio guys.
All right, thanks for the call, Joe. Let me answer it this way.
I would
start considering going to the ones that have female stripping. And no, I'm just kidding. All right, so look, go with her once and show her that it's not like you can grab a girl by the wrist and say, "Let's go bone." That ain't happening. All VIP is just an area that's more secluded, but nothing's happening. Body parts aren't being exposed in any way. The girl's just suckering the guy for more money, but all she's really doing is maybe just getting a little bit closer. So take the wife one time, and if she's totally against that, then go behind her back and don't tell her. If that's something you really, really want to go to. I have a pretty cool lady. I've told her every single time I've come back because I know there's no way of getting around the glitter on my forehead. No, but she knows that. What am I gonna do, man? I'm just gonna go in there and tell a bunch of corny jokes, have a couple drinks, watch the damn game, and then bounce. So it's just got to go back to trust.
I have a different strategy.
Sure.
Right.
Here's what you do. You have to tie it in to making it look like you could be advancing in the workplace. So whatever your manager's name is, just go, yeah. Kevin said, it was his bachelor party, and I got to go because if I don't go with the boss, then everybody's going to think I'm a twerp, and maybe he'll give me the shitty shifts, which means I have to come home later. You don't want me to come home later.
That's not bad.
Right?
That's a good idea.
But you got to be firm with what you're saying and not wishy-washy because she's going to see through it. She's going to smell the bullshit. So whatever it is, game plan you come up with, just come straight with it, sound confident. Give one of those little sniffs and what's for dinner? Change the subject. That's it. That's the answer, and that's it. We're not going to discuss it anymore.
And text every 20 minutes.
Home?
Yeah. That way, it looks like you go, you think I really want to be there? You didn't see me texting you. I was bored. But you just kind of program your text. Stupid things. Oh, it's crazy here.
My strategy's always been, why hear it twice?
That's true.
My point is, You're gonna hear it when you get home. Let her bitch that one time when you get home. You start doing all these calls or whatever. She's gonna nitpick. Why aren't you home? You promised that an hour ago. Why you're hearing it more than once? That's why I say why hear it twice. Just hear it the one time when you come home, and don't show any weakness too. The next day, wake up, go run 3 miles, or start mowing that lawn, and show her that hangover did not affect you. So she can't say nothing like, "See, you slept in, you missed the trash, they came by, whatever." So you got to tough it out. Now, at some point, you're going to be pretty tired, and then that's when you just squeeze in your nap. But she can't have any she can't hold anything over you if you're showing her that it didn't affect you.
Or you can be like maybe one of our other callers and just fall asleep while you're there and be like, I'm just sleeping there anyways.
Yeah. All right, who do we have?
I'm going to play devil's advocate real quick for a second. I think another thing you could do is just offer to take her like a male strip club and just never do it, but just keep dangling that out there.
What if she says yeah?
No, then you come up sick that night. I don't know what to tell you. Then you're screwed.
By the way, one other thing.
Sure.
Have you guys ever seen those packages that they have glitter and they explode?
No.
You never seen that? You could send it to your buddy. They open it and glitter pops out everywhere and ruins everything. Well, he delivers packages, so just get glitter, sprinkle it on, and go, one of them dumb packages again. That way, whenever you come in with glitter, it's not a weird thing.
They got you again with the package.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, literally. Marco from Waco. Let's go to him.
What's up, Marco?
What's up?
How you doing? I know we ain't going to ask you what you would do because your wife runs that show.
Yeah, I don't want to talk too loud because she's right around the corner. Hey, shout out to your formation. I haven't heard from that dude for a minute, man.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about John Jones earlier. I'm on the board that it doesn't fucking matter because not only is we never know what to expect with the guy. If he's gonna get drunk, he can become the weird and run around a thing, around a fucking post. what a bunch of strippers on it again, or run out of freaking pregnant ladies, or whatever it is, it's just fighting for big deals. If you want to believe that, it's not the way I see. Just get the guy fighting. That's all I care about. That doesn't matter. As long as he passes enough tests for him to be able to fight, that's all I care about him. And one last thing, man, you guys were talking about fans that you would like to see on a loop, or fighters you would like to see on a loop forever and ever. I got two for you. Frank Diego versus Gray Maynard on the time where they were doing the rematches.
Okay.
And Rory McDonald and Robbie Lawler. Rory McDonald and Robbie Lawler. There you go. Peace out. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
Those are good ones. One more call.
What
or we
a
got a
horrible
break?
connection, but that was a good call.
Yeah. Didn't he sound like he was talking into a funnel or something?
I think so. Yeah. He said Lawler and McDonald. Yeah. That was Dan's question
Edgar
yesterday.
Gray.
Fights you want to run back. Edgar.
Okay. All right.
All right. Yeah. One more call, and then we got to go to break. Who do we have?
Hal from Chicago.
What's up, Hal? How you
talking
doing?
about. Yeah.
Hey, so who would you, Dan, you got jokes, I see that. Hey, who would you give, if you're Dana, who do you give Colby if you want to get him back right now? You know what I mean? And you really want to throw him off. What's the guy you give him?
If you want to make him pay for his comments, in other words?
Diaz.
No.
Yeah, you want him to lose.
I think there'd be a big shot. Oh, you got to make him pay?
No, I thought
it was to make him happy.
No.
Yeah, explain yourself. You're Dana White, and you want to make this guy pay for his remarks, or you want to make him happy because he's been bitching?
I want to match him up with a high risk, low reward guy.
Oh, okay. All right, and he's forced to take it. So then, Dan, you're probably best there. Who seems to give Colby a tough time?
I think they already tried to do it, man. It was Kamaru Usman. I think that was the matchup. To be honest, I can't think of one.
Him. So I think what I would do is give him a guy that maybe you don't make the main card with. That way he can't make very much money. It's the only thing I can think of. Because he's right. You'd want to pair him up with somebody like Kamaru. So in other words, somebody that
his money's guaranteed.
No, but somebody that you could put him maybe the Fox Sports one going in, something like that.
Jumbo's got a good one.
Who?
Jumbo. Who do you got? Who did you just throw in the chat?
I mean, he's got a fight coming up, obviously. But what about Ben Askren? I think that would have been highly intriguing.
Ooh, there would have been some risks there.
Got that Twitter beef.
Yeah, but he's booked.
People are going to want to watch that, though. You want to give him.
I mean, but those are two guys.
But he means.
You know who I'd give him?
There's a chance to lose there.
If he doesn't commit to 185, I'd give him Darren Till. Because I don't think there would be much back and forth, really. Like, Darren says his stuff, but he doesn't say much. I would want it to get buried in the shuffle. That's the way I would bury him.
I think what Hal's getting at, though, is someone that can make him possibly lose and go away.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then, yeah.
But, last question. Joe didn't get his real question in. Hey, even fellas, I really just called because I want to know what my credit score is. All right, y'all take care.
He's bankrupt.
Thanks, Hal, for the
I was going to ask Hal if he ever fell asleep in the strip club. It's like it's got to be minus, 400 odds?
Pretty much, man. He fell asleep at fucking Guns N' Roses, so the noise don't stop him. All right, it's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93. Stay close. We'll be right back.
retire undefeated from MMA with a record of 0-0-0. They are Gorgeous George and Goes, and this is MMA Junkie Radio.
All right, this is just past the cutoff, but tipping off right now, Russell Westbrook and the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're dueling DeMar DeRozan and the San Antonio Spurs. Listen to the game on NBA Radio, Sirius 207, XM86, and streaming on your phone, and at home on SiriusXM connected devices and speakers. Woo, that's a badass song for a badass show. That's right, it's the 20-year anniversary of The Sopranos. If you have HBO like Goes and I, it's been all over the place. They've been playing it. Of course, you can catch the show on Netflix, YouTube. It's everywhere. And joining us right now is one of the stars of The Sopranos, Vincent Pastore. Hello, Mr. Pastore. How you doing? Welcome to MMA Junkie Radio.
Hi, it's good to be talking to Sirius again. I used to have a show on there. Little Steven produced it. It was called The Wise Guy Show.
Ah, okay, very cool. Yeah, it seems like you've dabbled in a lot. I was reading up on. You have a
been Sirius for 5 years. Yeah, me and Little Steven. Yeah.
You have a band. You're doing comedy now. Of course, acting, coaching young actors, mentoring. You're all over the place.
Yeah. Well, I'm going through, I was talking to my friend, Killer Joe, who's got a band, and he's also one of my students in school down at HB Studios, and he said, last year you told me you weren't happy, and you decided to go after and go do things you wanted to do, and it's a year later, and you're happy. I said, yeah, because I said to myself, I'm 72 years old, and let me start doing what I want to do. And I started teaching. And I love it. I love giving back to the students. We got this 20-year reunion popped up, so I'm running around with Michael Imperioli and Steve Schmidt. We're going to Australia. We're doing the Borgata February 9th. We're doing Westbury in May. We go around and we have a band that opens up for us, and then we do a Q&A. It's so cool. We just did the Count Basie Theater. So that's happening, and then I run around with my friend Bob Johnny, and we do comedy. My next trip is up to Canada with that. And basically what I do with comedy is I just bring people on stage and have them do scenes from Sopranos and stuff like that. We have a lot of fun with that.
Okay.
And that's what I'm doing in my life now,
What are your fondest memories of the Sopranos series?
Yeah, I was at the first 2 years. I was at the beginning. Yeah. We had this event last night down on 23rd Street, and it was so bittersweet. I mean, we missed Jimmy so much. We didn't realize how much we missed him until we were all together. And, we couldn't even talk about him without having tears in our eyes, And his kid was there, Michael, and his wife, Deborah, was there, and his sister was there. Oh, my God.
Right. All right, so I'm not sure if you. Yeah, of course you're talking about the I know you're talking about the great late James Gandolfini, and I wanted to. All right, I wasn't sure if you caught my first question though. What are some of your fondest memories of the taping when you were there the first 2 seasons of The Sopranos, playing the character of Big Pussy?
Well, being able to bite into something that was brand new, that was being written for me. It was being written for us, all these characters. Perry Willis was being written for Sirico, and Silvio was being written for Little Steven. It was amazing. We would go to work and they would hand us these scripts, and they were writing stuff for us, man. It's not like you went on a TV show and you were a guest star. This was our show, right from the beginning, right from the pilot, and. We didn't know after the pilot if we were going to get picked up. And then after the first season, we didn't know if we were going to have a second season. After the second season, you don't know if you can have a third season.
Right.
And that's how television is,
So, one thing that I found really cool back in the day when I used to watch it with my buddies is we'd all talk about it, amongst my friends, my circle of friends, and then at work, everybody would talk about it. But what really I thought was cool was hearing other actors talk about it as well. Like they looked forward to Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, when the next Sopranos episode would drop. What kind of interaction do you remember having with another actor, famous actor that we might know, that told you the same thing, that they enjoyed the series of Sopranos?
What's his name? Kiefer Sutherland.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, we went down in Midtown. We were roasting Dennis Leary. And Kiefer and I were on the dais, you know. And it was at the end of the night, and Kiefer came up to me and says, Vinny, because of the Sopranos, that's why I did 24.
Wow.
He says, and he was, a lot of guys, a lot of mainstream actors weren't doing television.
Yeah.
He said, Vinny, because of the Sopranos, I took on 24. That was a pretty decent compliment. And then last night, Jimmy Franco came up to me last night, and I know Jimmy from day one. We did a movie called Deuces One, and Deuces Wild. And he says to me, hey, Vinny, remember that movie we did in L.A.? I took my name off the credits. I said, you did not. He said, yes, I did. I said, well, you and Matt Dillon. I said, but the movie wasn't that bad. I said, but look at you now. And then he said to me and you too, I saw you do the Broadway show last year. So it's been like a crazy journey, not just for me, but for a lot of my friends. This whole acting, world. My family's proud of me, and it's just I got I live on City Island in the Bronx, and I got a nice house, and I got great friends, and it's just a nice journey. And last night was a great time in the city that HBO threw for us.
Vincent Pastore, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. All right, Goes, what do you have for Vincent Pastore?
Vincent, is there an event that maybe could have moved you in a different direction? Sometimes in our world, in the fight world, there's fighters that'll say, I came really close to taking this job and it would have led me in a completely different direction. Is there anything that happened in your life that could have taken you in a different direction away from The Sopranos?
Well, before I got into acting, I was a club owner for 25 years in Westchester. I ran rock and roll clubs and discos. And I got in some trouble. And I said, what am I going to do in my life? I was 42. So, hey, I said, let me go study acting. So I started taking some classes, and I was driving a limo, and I started getting work. So that kind of was my change from doing that life. I mean, I say to myself, I'm 72 now. If I would have stayed in the nightclub business, I'd probably be dead now, or an alcoholic. I was doing, I could talk on serious. I was doing a lot of drugs. It was the 80s. And acting was my therapy to change my life. So I would try to do this, and I would try to do that, and I would take a class, and all of a sudden, boom, things started to take off. I was doing Law and Order. I was doing Jerky Boys. I was doing America's Most Wanted, and then I landed Gotti for HBO, and then Sopranos, and like I said last night on stage, that Sopranos became my calling card. So people began to know who I was, and I was able to get jobs without auditioning. So, I've had two lives already. I've had, my club life and now my acting life.
Oh, wow.
And I kind of combine it now because I got a band and I have the musicians from my club days. My band's the Gangster Squad. We're going to be at Resorts next Thursday night on the 17th. And I have musicians from my club days playing with me, and we have a blast. So it's kind of full circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're in Vegas, so we love that type of entertainment. Is the Gangster Squad going to be in Vegas anytime soon?
If you get somebody to book me, I'm coming out in a heartbeat.
All right.
I like that. You brought up James Gandolfini, and I was thinking.
Eric Lopez is out in Vegas. He keeps trying to bring us out there, and he would, use some of his musicians, and then, but it's hard. It's hard to try to convince the casinos in Vegas, hey, they like us to go out and do meet and greets, but for me to go out with a full band, they don't know what we sound like.
Yeah.
I know what we sound like. I think we do all classic rock.
Gotcha. Well, you brought up James Gandolfini, and I had a conversation with someone coming in, and you know how movies, let's say like Batman, there's been plenty of people that played Batman, and some of them do great, some of them don't. But that role of Tony Soprano, I just honestly feel like there's nobody in the world that could have played that role better than James, and nobody that could even come close.
It's like if somebody else would have done my part, Big Pussy would have been played differently. It was magic that Jimmy was an unknown actor. He was doing character work. He was in True Romance. He was in Crimson Tide. You know, he did a lot of co-starring roles. But that was his that was his break, you know. But towards the end, you know, when I was with Jimmy a lot, even though I wasn't on the show, I would go down once in a while and do, like, play a ghost or something. But we would go out a lot. We used to do a lot of meet and greets together. And Jimmy said, I don't want to do this no more, man. I can't do it no more. I want to take a break. I want to do movies. And, you know, and then there was this show that he developed for HBO. And he did the pilot, and then he died. And then John Turturro had to come in and do it. So Jimmy just he really wasn't the Sopranos anymore. And David Chase admitted last night on stage that they were all tired and running out of stories. So that's why he really ended the show, because of Jimmy and David.
All right. Our other partner in crime, Josh, Jolton Josh, he's got a question for you. Josh, what do you have for Vincent Pastore?
So, Vincent, we had Steve Chiappa on MMA Tonight earlier, and he talked about how the cast would always get the new scripts, look at them, and see if their character was killed off. And he said when people would discover that their character was getting killed off, that, you know, sometimes they would get a little bit upset. And now the Big Pussy character obviously was only in the first 2 seasons of the show. I think there could have been a much larger story perhaps for that character, but within the first 2 seasons, you know, the arc was pretty drastic. It was a quick ending almost. So what was your reaction when you realized that your character was going to be getting killed off?
Well, David called me after the first season, but in television, you don't know how long these shows are going to last. So everybody was going year to year. So he didn't know he was going into a 3rd season. So, yeah, he decided to have me killed off, but he didn't know he was going to go into a 3rd season until the 2nd season. That's what happens. So he didn't have a contract for 6 episodes yet. I mean, the actors had 7-year contracts. I had a 7-year contract. I only worked 2 out of the 7. But that happens in television a lot. You know, they change the storyline. But I found out I was going to get killed between the 1st and 2nd season, and I says, yeah, okay. And they gave me some great scripts.
Yeah.
And I accepted it because I didn't know it was going to be 3rd and 4th and 5th, 6th season, and nobody else did.
Yeah. Vincent Pastore is our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. And, folks, the Sopranos are celebrating their 20-year anniversary. You can catch it on HBO. There's been tons of replays, HBO West, HBO Latino. It's everywhere. You can't miss it. And our guest plays the part of Big Pussy. You can catch him in those first 2 seasons of the episode. All right, one last thing here, Mr. Pastore. First of all, thank you for your time. We are an MMA show, you know, mixed martial arts, and we all love The Sopranos. A lot of our listeners were excited we're having you on. I'm going down
to the convention at the end of the month down in Atlantic City with Chuck Zito.
Yeah, Chuck Zito's a mutual friend. Yeah, he's a real good friend. Have you ever been to the fights with him?
Me and Chucky going to be down there. What is it? End of the month.
Okay, all right. So you're a fight fan? You like the boxing and mixed martial arts?
Yeah, of course I love that stuff.
All right, cool.
I can't do it. You know, you wouldn't sit me in no cage.
Right.
But I go and watch the fights, and yeah, I'm a big sports fan. But you know, I go back to raw boxing. You know,
did you do any?
That's where I grew up. You know, I grew up with Gillette Cavalcade of Sports every Friday night. I had 2 uncles that were fighters, you know?
Right.
But that's when I grew up with the Raging Bull era. You know what I mean? Jake LaMotta and all that stuff.
Did you do any boxing in the Navy?
No, I did boxing when I was in the Boys Club.
Okay.
When I was a kid. I was a boxer from about 13 to about 17 years old. And then when I went in the Navy, we didn't have time for boxing. Mm-hmm. But and then I played football, you know, high school. But then I became a rock, and I opened up my nightclub. And you know, who even goes to the gym when you're running a nightclub? You know. What
do you think of MMA? You know, the fights that you see in the UFC. They're for a lot of people, even boxing people, it's too raw, it's too violent. What are your thoughts? What's your opinion on that sport?
It reminds me of the way I used to fight when I was a kid. You know, you had to fight with somebody on the street, You do anything to win.
Right.
And that's what that is. You know what I mean? You're allowed to use your feet, and I'm surprised they're not biting each other right now.
Yeah, it started off that way, but they had to clean it up a little. But yeah, you're right. It's pretty much a street fight, except with with rules and a cage, and yeah, that's the way it started off. But all right. Well, hey, listen, it's been an honor having you on the show. We're all big Sopranos fans, and we're excited about this 20-year anniversary. Everybody getting together, and a lot of people that I know have already started consuming the show from episode 1 of season 1 again. So it'll be nice for you guys to touch other people the same way you did us 20 years ago. It was really, really one of the all-time great series.
They just had the marathon for the past 5 days, and I know a lot of people who never saw it before watched it. A lot of people rewatched it. So, we had a great time. We won the Today Show today, and big article in the New York Post. So, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but today was a great day for all of us.
We appreciate the time, Mr. Pastore. Hopefully we can have you on again if you're ever in Vegas.
All right.
Take care. We'll see you. All right, there you have it, folks. That's Vincent Pastore, who played the role of Big Pussy, Sopranos season 1 and 2. And thanks to the Iron Man, Josh Friedman, for lining that one up. That was a nice surprise. Thanks, Josh, for doing that.
Of course, man. It was a pleasure.
All right. Let's take this last break, and then we'll come back and close up shop. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93. Stay close. We'll be right back.
Yeah, you. Can you please tap that rather large fellow on the shoulder and tell him it's time for more MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Goes? Thank you.
All right, I definitely don't want to forget. Again, thanks to Josh for lining up the Vincent Pastore interview, and I got to give a shout out to myself for lining up the Derrick Lewis interview. So shout out to Gorgeous George. Tomorrow, what are we looking at tomorrow? Well, I was scrambling today. I had so many fishing lines out there, and nobody was biting. Like, there was, interest, and you toss out a time or whatever. And then it was getting scary, guys, because I had a lot of invites out there, and they just kept falling off. But had they all come together, this would have been like an 8-guest day.
Whoa.
So, but it didn't, and, I have a little bit of experience with this. That's the way it works. But look, I can't, tomorrow I don't know for sure, but I think we're going to have, we'll just say a top 5 lightweight in the world maybe co-hosting with us.
Co-hosting?
Right? Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that should be cool. I'll let you guys' minds wander. I know Mark Ratner,
UFC.
the VP of Regulatory Affairs for the Ultimate Fighting Championship, he's going to be our guest co-host on Monday, so that should be fun.
Well, that's great. It's like we don't have to show up for work. We just listen to him talk.
Just listen to him tell stories, yeah. And then we have Misha Tate co-hosting on Tuesday.
All right.
And then we have another one that's in the works, another highly touted coach in the works for later in the week, possible world champion on Monday's show as well. So again, we're casting those lines and we're seeing what comes up. But it's been a fun week so far. I'm not disappointed in the least bit, and I've really enjoyed these primetime shows. This new, I mean, listen, we were an 11.5-year show, morning show. Morning, afternoon to the East Coasters, but basically mornings for us. And so this is just a complete shift in our life. Picture your wife coming home and saying, you know how I leave at 8 and come home at 5? Yeah. Well, they just offered me the night shift. She's a nurse or something. And I'll be going in at 10 and coming home at 6. Like, it's literally kind of like that is kind of what it felt like for us a little bit. Granted, it's still sunlight. We're still working within those confines, I guess. So,
well, even before the show, it's like our jobs were usually 9 to 5.
Yeah. So trying to figure out what the cutoff might be, I'm still kind of trying to get a little familiar with that, seeing what the news stories are, the news cycle. So, but it's been fun. It's really been fun and refreshing, and we're glad to all of you that are sticking to, adjusting your lives as well. Maybe you catch us on your way home on the West Coast. Maybe on the East Coast, you've already fed the kids dinner and put them to bed, and you're just, getting ready to knock out yourself, just catching part of the MMA Junkie Radio Show. We appreciate it. Remember, if you've only caught a portion of the show, the whole show is available commercial-free and in HD quality on the SiriusXM app. I always recommend you get that because you can get the other shows on Fight Nation 93, like Busted Open, the Luke Thomas Show, MMA Tonight, At the Fights. We come strong over here at Fight Nation 93. All right, we got to get out of here. For Josh, Goes, and Dan, I'm George. Hope you have a nice evening, and we'll see you all tomorrow, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, with another edition of MMA Junkie Radio. Go out there, folks, and be a champion.
Come join us on the other side of the tracks. This is SiriusXM.